Good afternoon. I would like to introduce everyone to Suzan Baucum, who is running for Justice Court here in Las Vegas. Suzan, could you tell us a little bit about your background?
Absolutely, Vincent. Thank you for having me on the show today. I'm Judge Suzan Baucum, and I was born and raised here in Las Vegas and went through the public school system. I went away for college and law school, came back to Las Vegas after practicing law in Northern Nevada to run a foundation for the Supreme Court of Nevada. The Nevada Law Foundation provided legal services for abused women and children, senior citizens, and the less fortunate members of our community. I did that for 19 years before running for judge for the first time. So I ran for election in 2010 and was elected to the Las Vegas Justice Court bench. I ran again in 2016. I was reelected, and I'm running here in 22 for my third term.
That's fantastic. So let's hope that you're reelected again.
Thank you.
And can you tell us something about Neighborhood Justice Center?
So the Neighborhood Justice Center was established by the legislature in an effort to create some mediation type services for individuals in our community, so they either don't have to completely go through the court system, or if judges or other individuals at court think that they might benefit from mediation services. For example, if somebody comes to the Las Vegas Justice Court on a temporary protective order, and a judge listens to what both parties have to say, and they think it doesn't really rise to the level of a protective order, we can send it over to the Neighborhood Justice Center, and they will have a mediator there and work through to the root cause of the problem and get things settled. And they have a really good program over there.
Being a veteran and a friend of Judge Stevenson, who just retired, and I think he organized the Veterans Treatment Court. And I talked to a gentleman who was running for governor, and we talked about young kids who are being, what's the word I want to use? They're smoking marijuana, they're not of legal age. And what he wanted to do, one of his ideas was, instead of prosecuting them, have them go through some kind of program instead of putting this on their record. Can I ask you how you feel about something like that?
So I think that pretrial diversion programs for juveniles and other first-time offenders are very important. We do have some of those in place right now. The district attorney's office has one, I believe that's called Hope for Second Chances. It's a very good program that Steve Wolfson started here not too long ago, and a lot of his top prosecutors, in fact, one of the young ladies that you had on your show previously, Danielle Piper-Chio, she has referred a lot of cases to that program. And then in the juvenile court system, they also have a trial by peers program where juveniles can elect to have their peers. They do like a court process, a court hearing with the trial by their peers, so they don't get convicted of a crime like they would through the court process, but their peers come down with whatever the punishment is, whether or not that's community service or whatnot, and so they could go forward that way, and as long as they stay out of trouble for a certain period of time, it will not be prosecuted otherwise.
I think that that's a good program, because someone who is a minor does something silly or ridiculous, and they have this black mark against them on their record, it really prevents them from being, I'm going to say, I don't want to say successful, but an asset to society. Maybe they'll go back and increase the crime that they were doing to something more steep, or maybe they just turn around. And I think everybody should have the opportunity to turn around, especially when they're young.
And Vince, that's actually one of the reasons why I do so much community outreach as a judge. For 10 years, I presided over the driving under the influence, the DUI court. And during that time, I found, and being out in the community, that children as young as 9 or 10 years old, the first time that they have a sip of alcohol or try an illicit substance, that's how old they are. So my outreach starts in the grade school. I go into the grade school, I talk to them about the court system. I talk to them about what happens if you drink and drive, or drive under the influence in our community. And I've expanded that to the middle schools, the high schools, and as well as UNLV and their athletics program. So I do that on a regular basis, because my thought is if you can stop it before it starts,
yes,
then you can save one child and let them continue on to the path of success.
If you have any information about that you think we could post on our website so people can view it, I think that would be a great idea.
Well, I think that, just community resources are so important, because so many times people just don't know where to look, right? Our court system, we do have a list of resources that people can access, and I'll try to get you either a link to that or a printout that you could upload to your website.
Because that's what we try to do. For voter information, we have posted every candidate that is running now, whether they're Libertarian, Independent, Republican, or Democrat. They can go to our website and they can look, they can find out who and how to contact our current legislators. So we want to give the people information, and not only about that, but about community services. That would be great. Criminal. I'm going to ask you about criminal because I like to watch crime movies. Especially now, I think this season, CSI Vegas is coming back.
So when is that supposed to happen?
I think next week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'll have to look for that.
Can you tell us something about the criminal division?
So in Las Vegas Justice Court, we currently have 15 judges. In January, our 16th judge will take the bench. We will have 3 civil departments, 2 domestic violence departments, 1 driving under the influence, and the rest will be criminal. So our criminal cases are anything from petty larceny, stealing a candy bar, I say, to murder, okay? It's a broad range.
If I can ask you about domestic violence, because I think, as you know, I've mentioned to you, we've talked many times before, I lived in China for many years, and they don't have a law that I know of about domestic violence, because when I've talked to some people, they don't tell the police anything. And one thing I want to do is I want to make our Asian community feel comfortable, especially when it comes to domestic violence, that we're here, the police, the judicial system is here to help them and protect them. Could you add something to that, make them feel more comfortable? The other question I wanted to ask is, I was told that on a domestic violence case, when you call, there's like 2 or 3 cop cars that will show up at your door. Is that true?
Well, I don't know about the officers that will show up. I know that there are hotlines that individuals that can call if they're not feeling safe. And certainly I would encourage any man, woman, child, if they're not feeling safe in the community, to immediately get on the phone and to call law enforcement. Even if you have questions about maybe your neighbor or a friend that is not, you don't feel that they are safe, you can also reach out to law enforcement to do a well check. And that's very important. People need to feel safe in their communities. They need to know how to access services. But somebody, if they are feeling unsafe, if they've been the victim of domestic violence, it does need to be reported to law enforcement so law enforcement can help the process start. It can be then sent to the district attorney's office for charging and ultimately get to the court system.
I think that's a number we should post on our website to help. Is there anything special you'd like to pass on to our viewers?
Well, again, thank you very much for having me here today. My name is Judge Suzan Baucum, and I am running for re-election for Las Vegas Justice Court Department 13. I've been a judge for 12 years with 30 years of legal experience, and I would appreciate your vote on November 8th. Thank you very much.
Susan, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I know we've talked about this for a long time, but if you don't give up, it finally happens, right?
Absolutely. And thank you for having me on your show today.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day.
You too.